B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. We know this week's parsha is Chukat, and of course we're recording Leilul Nishmat Avi Mori Harini Kaprat Mishkavo Shlomo Chaim ben David Zatzal. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu makes the greatest mistake of his life. Very simply, God commanded him to hit the rock because the Jews did not have water because the prophetess Miriam passed away. So God wanted Moshe to talk to the rock so water would be forthcoming and flow out. Moshe, by mistake, because he got angry and called the Jews a rebellious nation, if you look in chapter 20 of this week's parsha, he hit the rock. God punished him, said, you and Aaron will die here in the desert and will not be able to enter the land of Israel. And guess what? Even after Moshe prayed 515 times, he still was not allowed to gain entry into the Holy Land. Now, Maimonides, the greatest of the greatest rabbinical sages, says, what's the lesson here? The lesson is that the Midrash tells us every time Moses got angry in the Torah, which was very few, he was definitely, his patience was of a rock, of the rock of Gibraltar and steel, but the 2-3 times that he got angry in the Torah, he automatically, inevitably made a mistake. And this is such a big ethical lesson that the greatest prophet and arguably man of all time that gave us the Torah was so wise and holy. If he got angry, he made such a fundamental mistake that cost him his most beloved possession that was almost as precious as the Torah to him, the land of Israel. And so much so, us common folk, what disaster and really, really dangerous, foolish actions can come out when we lose it, when we become furious. We could make such fundamental mistakes that could literally alter our whole life, our whole happiness, our whole health. And I think the best example of this is the case of the Pilegesh Begiva, the second wife of a Levi. Let's read a Gemara in Gitin, page 6, Vav Amud Bet. It says, Amar Hista le'olam al yitel adam emal yetera betoch beto, share Pilegesh Begiva yitel alea ba'ala emal yetera ve'pila kama revod misrael. It's very unfortunate that there are people that so and so call themselves religious and their house is like a boot camp. The house, the Chazon Ish says, a Jewish home should be a cordial place. A place that's fun, a place that's friendly, not like a military camp. If a father or mother in their house instills so much fear into their children that people are so terrified of their parents or of the atmosphere of the house that they'll literally be willing to run away, that's what a certain Levi did to his second wife. And it's a fascinating story recorded in the end of the book of Joshua, where there was a Levi that had a terrible, terrible temper. And guess what? Because of this Levi, do you know how many tragedies happened? He basically got so mad at his wife that his wife ran away to her father's house. He went back and got his wife. On the way back, they stayed in a city in Gibeah, in the tribe of the territory of the tribe of Benjamin. And the people of Benjamin were like Sodom and Amorah. They were going to rape the man, the Levi, so he sent his wife out. They had tortured her and abused her so much the whole night. The next morning, he found his wife dead. He cut her body up into 12 pieces, and a civil war happened. And this civil war caused 70,000 Jews to die. An entire tribe of Israel almost got wiped out, the tribe of Benjamin. And for many years, all of the other tribes swore not to let their daughters marry the tribe of Benjamin. Now, how did this all start? Because a man created an atmosphere of terror in his house. And he had such an anger problem that caused his wife to run away from the house. By her running away, a situation caused almost an entire tribe of Israel wiped out, a woman, innocent woman, raped to death. And it all started from this little anger. Let's not underestimate how dangerous anger is. And that's why the Gemara continues that whoever does instill fear and terror because he's so angry into his children and his wife, in the end of the day, his wife is going to commit the 3 cardinal sins against him. Gilur arayot, shefichut damim, and chilul Shabbat. Well, chilul Shabbat isn't a cardinal sin, but when you desecrate Shabbat, it's like you did idol worship. So in a way, it is a cardinal sin. And Rashi explains, because if people are so terrified because of your anger and temper tantrums and rage, a woman may lie and say she went to the nidah and she wasn't able to dip properly, or she may cook on Shabbat because she's so terrified from her husband that he's going to totally abuse her, and God knows what she's going to do, so she's going to cook the food on Shabbat. Or, God forbid, like we said, the case of Pilegesh Begiva, the concubine of the Levi that lived in the tribe of Judah, his wife ran away, and in the olden days there was absolutely total darkness in the middle of the night, and the people could fall into a ditch, and therefore in their haste of running away from this angry madman may die, which is not a far off thing. So may Hashem help us to realize danger is a big poison. And not only does it damage the people around you, if you don't have self-control and patience, it's going to damage yourself. The Gemara in Psachim says 3 people, their life is not really life. They don't have any quality of life. One of them is an angry person. And let's not put everything under the carpet. If somebody really does have a major anger issues, he should go to a professional Orthodox psychologist and take anger management issues, because one of those times his anger may cause death, God forbid. We saw the anger of one Levi caused almost a civil war, almost one tribe of Israel to be destroyed, wiped out. And there's no shame. Everybody has their own character deficiencies. But the most important thing is to be to thyself be true and get professional help. Because make no mistake, a lot of these kids that went off the derech, I know this personally, a lot of the divorces that happened could have and should have been saved if the parties would have went to anger management therapy. A lot of kids that went off the derech, their house was a place of terror. Their house was a place where they were walking on needles, and that's why they weren't, even though their parents were super religious, they left the fold of religion, because their house wasn't a place of peace and happiness and harmony. It was constantly yelling and screaming. So may Hashem help us that there only be peace in all the houses of Israel. And the greatest of all virtues is humility. And humility, a subcategory of humility, if you look at Rashi, is to be patient, which is the greatest of all virtues. May Hashem help us to have the patience and endurance, not to lose it. Because if we lose it, we lose much more than we could ever imagine. May there be peace in the land of Israel and in all Jewish homes. Amen.